What's up everyone? Welcome back. In this video, I'll show you how to run Android TV directly on your Windows computer without needing a physical Android TV box. We're going to use Android Studio to create a virtual Android TV device, and once everything is set up, you'll be able to explore the Android TV interface, install apps, test applications, and use it just like a real Android TV device. Everything runs locally on your PC using the Android emulator. Let's get started. Open your browser and search for Android Studio Download. Open the official Android Studio website and download the Windows version. Once the installer finishes downloading, open it. The Android Studio Setup wizard will appear. On this screen, make sure Android Studio and Android Virtual Device are both selected. Then click Next and continue through the installation. Once the installation is complete, click Finish. Android Studio will now launch for the first time. Click Next. When asked for the installation type, choose Standard. This option automatically installs all the required Android SDK components, emulator files, and development tools. Accept the license agreement and continue. Android Studio will now download and install everything it needs. Depending on your internet speed, this may take a few minutes. Once the setup is complete, click Finish. Now we're ready to create our Android TV virtual device. From the Android Studio welcome screen, click More Actions. Then select Virtual Device Manager. Click Create Virtual Device. Since we're building an Android TV device, switch to the TV category. Select Television 1080p. This creates a full HD Android TV emulator. Click Next. On this screen, you can give the device any name you want. I'll call mine Android TV. Feel free to use a different name, but make sure you remember it because we'll need it later when creating our automation script. Click Next. Now it's time to choose the Android TV system image. You'll see several Android versions available. At the time of recording, Android 16 is the latest TV image available. If it hasn't already been downloaded, click the download icon next to it. Wait for the download to finish, then continue. Before clicking Finish, open Additional Settings. There are a few settings here that are worth adjusting. Start with Default Boot. By default, this may be set to Quick Boot. If your emulator launches normally, that's perfectly fine. However, if you're dealing with black screen issues or startup problems, switch it over to Cold Boot. A cold boot starts the emulator from scratch each time instead of loading a previous saved state. Next, scroll down to internal storage. You'll probably see around 6 GB allocated by default. I recommend increasing this to either 8 GB or 16 GB. If you're mainly testing Android TV, 8 GB is usually enough. If you plan on installing lots of applications from the Play Store, go with 16 GB. Now move down to emulated performance. For CPU cores, 4 cores is a good balance for most systems. There's no need to allocate too many cores because that can slow down your Windows machine while the emulator is running. Next, check the RAM allocation. If it's currently set to 2 GB, increase it slightly. For systems with 8 GB of RAM, I recommend using 3 GB. For systems with 16 GB or more, 4 GB works well. Once you've finished making those adjustments, click Finish. Your Android TV virtual device should now appear in the device list. To launch it, click the play button. After a few moments, Android TV will boot directly inside Windows. At this point, you can navigate the interface just like a real Android TV device. Now there is one small issue. By default, the Android TV emulator doesn't always look great in full screen mode. Even when maximizing the window, you may still see title bars, borders, or unused space around the emulator. To make the experience cleaner, we're going to use AutoHotkey. Open your browser and download AutoHotkey from the official website. Install it just like any normal Windows application. Once the installation is complete, go to your desktop. Right-click an empty area, choose New. Then select AutoHotkey script. Give the script a name. I'll call mine Android TV. Once the file is created, right-click it and select Edit. This opens the script in Notepad. Before passing the script, there are 2 things you need to know. The first is the Android emulator path. In most cases, the emulator is installed in the Android SDK directory. The exact path may vary depending on your Windows username, so make sure you update it accordingly. The second thing is the virtual device name. This must match the name you used earlier when creating the Android TV device. In my case, that's Android TV. Now paste the updated AutoHotkey script into Notepad. Save the file and close the editor. From this point forward, you can launch Android TV using the AutoHotkey script. The script automatically starts the emulator and resizes it to fill the screen much more cleanly. Once Android TV finishes loading, you can sign in with your Google account, open the Play Store, and begin installing applications. Media players, streaming apps, file managers, utilities, and many other Android TV applications can be installed just like they would on a physical device. Keep in mind that performance depends heavily on your hardware. For the best experience, make sure virtualization is enabled in your BIOS, use a reasonably modern processor, and have enough available memory. At a minimum, 8 GB of RAM is recommended. If you have 16 GB or more, the emulator will generally feel much smoother. Also remember that this is still an emulator. Some applications may not behave exactly as they would on a real Android TV device, and certain streaming services may have limitations when running inside an emulated environment. Even so, for testing Android TV applications or simply exploring the Android TV interface on Windows, this setup works extremely well. And that's all there is to it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.